Well, welcome to Conscious Gatherers. Tonight's episode is number 120. My name is Beverly Thompson, and I'm here with A.J. Royce.
Hello, everybody.
Well, welcome, and today's date is May the 14th, 2024. We're already into mid-May, which is like, where in the heck did that happen? How did that happen? Yeah, some fun events, interesting events this month, and one of them seeing the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
And we could see it down here with the naked eye, kind of. It's a slight pink in the sky, which I thought is a very interesting, loving color. So think of it that way.
And there are people who are working on that, too, which we found really interesting.
Yes,
timing.
It's sending that pink energy around the Earth, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is going on by many of our, maybe by many of you listening to this. But if you haven't done it, go right ahead and do it and join us all, because that really brings a nice vibrational energy to this Earth and to humanity. And we're going to need some calming times as some of the things that we want to share tonight. And overall, I think it's very exciting. Yet, hold on to your hats. Things are happening. All right, do you have any? Well, all right, we're going to talk about, sorry about that. We're going to talk about some of the things that are happening that I think you can all tune into, and then we're going to go into a little more of the esoteric or cosmic knowledge, and it all ties together. So overall, I think it's extremely exciting of what's happening today. Royce, you want to add on to that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. We had a conversation before tonight, so it kind of falls into that. So anyway, all right. Well, if she's ready to talk, she's going to talk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to share with you some information that I received earlier this week, and then we're going to go into the other knowledge. And so here we go. All right. Start out. This says on the 10th that I received this information. I said the cleanup is not yet done. However, it is well underway. And we're talking about the cleanup of the negative forces, the nefarious ones, the deep state, whatever words you want to use, because it all fits into the same envelope of some of the not so nice things that have gone on this earth. All right. So the Mother Earth is doing some churning inside her, and this churning will be released mostly through volcanic activity. And I think we're finding that. It said that, I was told volcanic activity versus earthquakes. So, right now I'm just kind of questioning, are we going to see that many more earthquakes? But sometimes they all work together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. So the Earth's balancing is making headway, and just think of that word, balancing. So that's what's going on now. Many of the intense storms many have experienced, and at least here in the United States, there's been a lot of tornadic activity and some pretty heavy storms through mostly the middle America and then heads east. So that continues. Other parts of the world indeed have had floods and a lot of activity going on too.
Yeah.
So some rough times and tough times for people. That's putting them out of their house and home. So always send them love too, by the way. All right. Most of the salacious activities done by mankind regarding the manipulation of weather problems will soon stop due to the lack of funding of these programs. Salacious can mean different things, so it was used here. So there has been a lot of manipulation of weather, storms, that, there's no way. It's hard for me to fathom, for instance, what's happened in Dubai. They had years amount of rain in a matter of a few hours, and that's not normal at all. Even though the Earth is going through changes and balancing, some of this is due to mankind's manipulation, yet what we're getting is that the manipulations will soon end.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That brings to mind, we had a visitor today, this afternoon, and this visitor was, he came because he was letting us know that his kind were helping us to establish a new foundation for absolute truth. And the reason for this is because our current foundation is so corrupt and being degraded by falsehood. And so in order for us to make any headway, Bev and I are always talking about discerning, and it's kind of hard to anchor into that word when your foundation has crumbled. So this establishing of a new foundation of absolute truth gives us something to ground onto so that we can discern appropriately. So I just thought his visit was very timely.
A little more on our visitor, and then I'm going to go a little bit more into what I received because, again, it all fits together. This being, and he seemed very kind. I do feel very benevolent. It actually lives inside the Earth, and a futuristic, what we would term a futuristic city. So they are large, tall beings, or at least he was.
Yeah.
And they we'll see if they make themselves known, because that's what I want to share with you now. That this is again what I was told the other day, that mankind is due for a big surprise, and so I thought, okay, what's the big surprise? And I guess it would be a surprise if I knew it. However, they were telling me what it was. And so, or I was telling myself, if you want to use myself as a higher being. When I say higher being,
your higher self giving you information.
Yes. So thank you. All right. They said, okay, mankind is due for a big surprise. Be on alert for activities in many of your cities as well as your waters. What has been buried will soon surface. And I thought, that's interesting. So as I normally do, I asked questions. And so the following day I did. And I said, okay, please explain regarding the big surprise. And I asked if this had anything to do with the activities of the ARC ships. And I have mentioned those ARC ships in other podcasts that heard a lot about them through JP, who is on with Dr. Michael Salla on Exopolitics fairly often. And I tune into that because I've received the information that there was going to be this large activation of these huge ships. And this is probably about 8 years ago, or maybe 7, when I was getting that information. So it all falls together. So anyway, I was asking about the ARC ships, and that's ARK ships and spaceships, but they're underground in our waters. So they're stationed around the Earth. Anyway, I asked if it had to do with this surprise, has to do with the activation of the ARC ships, and the answer, which I get often, was partially. Oh, geez, here we go again. And they said cities have been purposely built on old cities to hide much of Earth's history. This was done due to control structures that were taking place. The fall of this, or these structures, are taking place. Much of it is complete. And now that's the old structures of the control mechanisms. Is what they're talking about. And we may not think we're under much control, but I think we're going to find out how much control that we have been under.
Shocking.
Yeah. and we're not. Many of us aren't aware of all of it. I don't think any of us are aware of all of it, to be honest with you. So anyway, once the old structures are taking place and complete, it'll make it much safer for this full activation of these ARC ships. And I don't know if they're all ARCs, but maybe, I'm not sure what they're going to be called, but I think there's quite a few of them on this earth. Then I was told that the other part of this equation is the return of the sovereign being, and that is for all beings who inhabit this earth. Yeah. And you will walk together with other types of beings. And so this kindly being that came in today, I feel is one of them that we're going to be walking with. And they do work on a pretty high level of frequency, if you want to use that term.
Yeah.
And as we raise in our frequencies, then it'll help us all work more harmoniously together. And I had asked, will this be harmonious with these beings? And the answer was, for the most part. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's like with anything that we have gone through.
Yeah, it'll be something new.
Yeah. And then today I was told, stay calm. Like, okay. They said interesting news headlines will be written, which to me has been going on for quite a while.
Yeah.
When you start looking into it more, which they said, look at what is behind the writers or news media intent or purpose in writing these headlines. Does it make sense? Talking about, what can we trust, what's truth and not truth?
Yeah.
What's real and not real. And but then I was asked, is this giving you more distrust of the news? If so, you are using your discernment. More will be shown what truly is happening. Do not react until you know the truth, and you will know it. Yeah. So that's really trust yourself, trust that mm-hmm. gut feel.
Yeah, and I think perhaps we have gotten kind of numb to what that feels like, because there's so much incoming information from all directions, and we've kind of gotten used to just being overloaded with all of that incoming. There's noise everywhere. You can't even go into a hospital, any room, and not have a TV going. We're being bombarded all the time. So it's, very distracting, and we've gotten used to the distraction. And, that's when it's time to pull the plug, hold the phone, and give yourself some quiet time.
If it gets to be too much, turn it off.
Yeah.
And if you remember what we talked about this last podcast is take time for yourself. And don't go on overload, because you're not going to be very comfortable with the changes that are going on if you stress out too much. Yeah. So it's just remember to pull back, and if it's for a few minutes, then it's for a few minutes. And it's like leaning back in your chair or whatever and closing your eyes. And sometimes 3 minutes will pass and you feel a lot better.
Yeah, but it's during those times when you're on pause that you've given yourself the chance to think for yourself. And that's when you start to realize when you've been under control, is when you start thinking for yourself, and it's like, wait a minute, 2 and 2 is not making 4 here.
Yeah. And some of the people I have listened to, and sometimes they get a little loud, and it's not comfortable. Yeah. And so I thought I turn it off, and it's like I can't do this. For me, yep. It's not comfortable. If it's not comfortable for me, then it's time to turn it off. So I do.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do this. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to listen to this person, or whatever it may be. So you choose what's best for you. All right, you're here. All right, we're going to move on. That follows along with what we're talking about, and it's the name of the writing, and this is in my second book, Mystery of the Universes, book 2. And there's one of the chapters, or I call them writings. This one's number 43, and it's called Phase 1 into Phase 2. And I decided to look this up, and yes, I do listen to other podcasts, excuse me, as I had mentioned, and that this Phase 1 into Phase 2 into Phase 3 can come up with Blossom Goodchild, if you ever listen to what comes from Blossom. So I just thought it was interesting choice of words because the Federation of Light has said, okay, we're moving into Phase 2, soon to enter into Phase 2. So I decided to go ahead and look up what I wrote. And even though I don't have a Phase 3, and I think the Federation means a little bit different for what they're giving through Blossom as to what I have written, which is actually in 2009. So 15 years ago. But it is so appropriate for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. All right, this seemingly huge transition that is happening in every sector of this universe, merging into other universes, has become one of the most astounding creations that Creator has ever known. Excuse me. This new definition of life shall be a precursor to new ways of living and manifesting new creations. The dawn or beginning of the transition started hundreds of Earth years ago when it was decided that a new avenue or web of creation be put into place to help stabilize the new thought forms of creation. Next, the new web is also called a new dimension within a dimension, a new timeline. What is occurring at this moment, called time in the 21st century of recorded life, it is the need for quantum physics to be turned on its head with a different set of physics to come into manifestation. In order for this to happen, the vibrational calibrations are changing into a whole new set of harmonics. All stations shall take their places in order for this new manifestation of life to occur. Take not what you have known and prepare to dream another dream. This new dream shall be the second phase of this change. Phase 1 is now almost complete. Those of us in the realms called angelic, and I'm thinking angelics being higher dimensional beings, versus angels with wings. I think from the heavens they come. I'm really not sure if they're the winged creatures as we have known them to be. But anyway, they're ready with us to finish this plan. And that goes for this being that came in today, too, is ready to help assist us, surface dwellers, to finish this plan. So they said we are at our stations tuned into existing harmonics. With the release of Phase 1, we are ready to combine our efforts with you, the humans on Earth, ascended masters, and accompanying star systems. We are ready to resume our place within the new constellations of new thoughts originating through humans with this is our assistance. We read the present and can see the future with its many probabilities, yet we cannot assume any of these possibilities coming into manifestations. The patterns we see occurring, coupled with a change in harmonics, that's light and sound, makes for a transition of unprecedented thought forms. Indeed, a whole new horizon is rising with the new suns, and that's spelled SUNS/SONS, in tune with the dreams of the all, everywhere in the universe, now seen and felt on a multitude of dimensional levels. And you had mentioned you understood what that, the suns,
Yeah,
the
the suns and suns, yes. If you look at a diagram of the tree of life, it's the circles and the connecting lines. The sephira is what the circles are called, and the center sephira of the tree of life is the sun, S-U-N. That's the planet that corresponds to that sephira. Now, there are higher vibrational beings who are related to these sephiras as well, and the Christ is attributed to the one that is the sun, the center one. So that's, when we think of in Christianity, the Christ being the Son of God, that would be the Son, S-O-N, in the place of the Sun, S-U-N. And so thinking about us as human beings, as we're progressing, we are raising our vibration to be sons.
S-O-N-S.
S-O-N-S as well. Sons of God, the people of God, the children of God. However you want to think of that.
Well, we're already
yes.
a part of God. So with that, I'm looking at it as a Christed state of being.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And so what is, can you explain what Christed state of being is?
Well, it's a higher vibrational aspect. So us raising our vibration to realize what we are, and that is divine beings walking around in human suits.
Somebody the other day I was listening to mention integrating the higher vibrations. So that's really integrating the higher vibrations of what we already are. And I do like that word, integrating.
Yes, I do too.
But it is, yes, it's rising within us, but it's really integrating what is already us into this physical form.
I agree.
All right.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're waking up to who we are, who and what we are, instead of following the dummying down that we've had pushed on us. But we accepted that. So
we came back into these bodies.
Shame on us. So here we go. We're reclaiming what's truly ours.
Well, I think we decided to do this to see what it was like in order to move past all of this great, so-called great experiment. So we're doing it. All right. So this phase 1 is almost complete, and so this phase 1 is collapsing. So that's exactly what's going on now. And then phase 2 will rise from the ashes of old. But the ashes will disappear as a newness of being begins. So it's a completion, a beginning, and a newness, and the excitement builds as the wheels within wheels are turning. So I think that means dimensions within dimensions. Okay, so it is time, or to be more accurate, it's the building of a new harmonic level of a new understanding taking shape. So humanity, we are the builders of this new tomorrow. And we have taken, this is saying you have taken your internal eyes into the gap to build, once again, yet different, a paradise of unequaled elegance in the name of life, the living experience of the holy thought forms of each of you within all that is. And so with these calling themselves angelic beings. But anyway, for this they said that we are most grateful and excited as we step into our positions to be the shoulders and strength for each of you to build upon. We are to assist you in any way we are directed within the holy state of love. So a lot of these beings we do need to ask to get any assistance. They cannot step in without our asking.
Yeah, you can think of it like a prime directive in Star Trek. You know, it's not kosher to interfere.
Indeed, we are emerging from our sleep. We've been hearing that term, and to me, this is truly the awakening process happening now. So that's basically it, but there's a little bit more to it. But, we have evolved. We had, each of us have evolved, and we devolved to understand what it meant to feel separate from Creator Source when there's no such thing. But we did not know that.
No such thing as separation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and now we're evolving and understanding, integrating these other aspects of ourselves and bringing a whole new creation together. It's really quite exciting.
Yes, it is. What I have that I believe fits along with this, the going from one phase to another, that I work with sacred geometry. And if you can, grab a little piece of paper and a pencil just to make a few little, very simple drawings. The first drawing is just a dot, just a black dot on a white sheet of paper. And that dot stands for the all there is, all that is, all that could be. And the next little drawing will be a dot surrounded by a circle. And this is opening up the dot, and you create the circle. And that circle stands for time. You can think of it as like the face of a clock. And the next drawing that evolves is a square around that circle, but fitting tightly, hugging the circle so that it touches in 4 different places. Now that square stands for space. So you have the all surrounded by the circle, which is time, and the circle surrounded by the square, which is space. So how does this apply to us as Homo sapiens in the process of evolving into Homo luminous? And what is Homo luminous? It's beings who are luminous, not only holding more light, but generating and emitting light. Now the geometry says that there is time, and there is time encapsulated by space. The boundary of space exceeds the boundary of time. So this tells us something special. It tells us that there is space which exists outside the parameters of time. Timeless space. Applying timeless space to our existence. This tells us that looking at our evolution as it progresses in steps, first we exist within the confines of time as Homo sapiens evolving into Homo luminous. But there is a state of existence available to us which is outside or beyond the confines of time, a state of existence which is immortal, glowing, immortal beings. The next phase. Now this is still referring to beings who exist within a spatially related environment. In the next phase, would it entail existence beyond the confines of space? And that would be the third phase. So we're going into some states of being that we have no science to measure it. We barely have words to express it. So it is going to be something beyond our wildest imagination. But the geometry is proving it, that we are heading into places where we haven't been yet as physical beings, but we are well on our way. And so I'm just thrilled and excited about all of this, and to see how the geometry, being so simple, is telling such a big story, and it's just gotten started. Just a dot, a circle, and a square. So you can only imagine, with following the geometry even further, what story is it going to tell?
It's really hard to really comprehend all of that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's like quantum physics is being turned on its head.
Absolutely.
So it all falls together. Makes you think. But you know what? It's just let it sink in.
Yeah.
And it'll show itself.
Yeah, but just spend some time looking at the little drawing that has the dot, the circle, and the square together, and you'll be able to see that beyond that circle, but still within the square, there's some space there that time does not apply to, and we're getting ready to explore that. It's mighty, mighty big stuff.
Yeah, it is. Kind of makes you speechless in some ways.
Yeah, it does. It's like, well, how do you follow that?
Exactly. Okay. All right. I have really nothing to add to any of this. It's like, all right. So hang in there. Things are changing. Stay calm. And
keep your wits about you.
Yeah. I think we're going to witness a lot more. And we have been unusual things happening in the skies.
Mm-hmm.
Look up.
Well, even biblically, it talks about a time when there's so much going on in the heavens, and that's our cue. Pay attention. Big stuff happening.
Yeah, and we are this big stuff.
Yeah.
We've been known as the courageous ones. Again, we came here, and we came here for a reason at this time. That's this time. And we're understanding that time and space are not always one.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
We always think of it as being one and the same kind of this thing that you can look at two different ways, but it can be split apart. It began apart.
Well, we talk about the time-space continuum.
Yeah. So that kind of puts that to rest.
It does, because we can go forward or we can go back. We don't. Well, we always think we're going forward, right? Because that's how we experience time at this point.
Yeah, but
sometimes
space without the time that applies to it means travel in the blink of an eye. So
instantaneous.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, like as quickly as you think it, there you are.
I think somebody said that, or you just did. I don't want to take that away from you, but it's like, all right, yeah. All right, well, a lot of things to contemplate. So we thank you for listening this evening. And again, watch the skies and know the beauty that lies within each of you, because you are all beautiful.
Yes.
And pat yourself on the back. It's fine to do that. In fact, we prefer it, because acknowledging yourself, you acknowledge the love that you are. And that's a big step for people right now, because all this stuff's coming up. And just, again, take a look in the mirror and say, I love you. That's hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah, when you're not in the habit of it, I mean, there's a lot of people who have never heard those words directed toward them, and that's a very sad thing. But we have the opportunity to do that for ourselves now.
Yeah. Look in the mirror, say I love you, and look at others, say I love you too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's starting to acknowledge it, and the more that you say that to yourself and to others, the easier it's going to be, and then it's going to be easier for them to acknowledge this and do that for themselves and for others. So it's that ripple effect, and I tell you what, that energy will change the world in a snap.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. We'll be back in 2 weeks, which will be May 28th, which I believe is the day after Memorial Day. So until that time, you all enjoy this the beautiful lights in the sky, as many of us have been experiencing around the world. More events to come, my understanding. If they are scary to you, stay calm, because things are changing around, and everything is going to be all right. And eventually just totally beautiful. It's just getting through the changes that we're going through right now.
Yeah, and changes, that's the big word. The thing of adaptation. We are adaptable beings. If it weren't for that, we'd be in a world of hurt, as they put it, We have to be able to shift and move and grow with the changes and make your own changes. Just because everything around you is changing in one direction doesn't mean that you have to go in that direction.
Exactly. And if you see something that you don't, that you need to change in your life, or you're not sure what to do, but then you ask yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. So you say, okay, what are you going to do about it? And it's for you to take that action.
Yeah, but first you have to get in that still place yourself so you can figure out what are your own thoughts. What do you want? What is it that you don't want? Sometimes that's how we figure out what we do want. We narrow down what we do not want anymore and go from there. But were you finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. During the process, we're growing here, and sometimes it's painful to do that, and that's okay. We all go through tough times. Allow yourself some space to grow. Allow your mind a little bit of time to catch up to all the changes that are going on, and just be kind to yourself. And because the more that you can get through your own stuff, process out the stuff that you don't want to keep there anymore in your own life, the better off we will all be, because where we go one, we go all. All right.
Thank you. Blessings to everybody that are listening. Send those blessings on, if you would. And all that means is you're sending your love. All right. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, everybody. I'm blessed to be here with you, and I'm glad you stayed. I love you. Good night.
Good night.